This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet world, West Alabama. How we doing today on a Thursday? It is the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. You guys checking us out on the Bama Central YouTube channel. You're checking us out on the Bama Central Facebook page. I encourage you to go ahead and subscribe and like us on those pages. You're also seeing us on Joe Gaither 6 on Twitter. You're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon. We appreciate everybody who subscribes, rates, reviews the show on their favorite podcast platform. We're live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios right here off of McFarland Boulevard, just into Northport. You can find us past the Tiger Rock and Rustic Rehab on the left. Call Derek Daniel today for all of your insurance needs. 205-758-3391. Home, life, auto insurance needs. He's got people upstairs waiting to get you a free auto insurance quote. You can drive by today and see his signage outside says free insurance, ... quotes. Get yourself an auto insurance quote today at 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. We're going to talk about phone-addicted quarterbacks. We're going to talk about Alabama's defense. We're going to get into the fall scrimmage, the second fall scrimmage that's happening on Saturday, just a little bit. And we're going to be joined by Katie Windham. You can follow Katie Windham, well, Katie Sukalis. You can still follow her at Katie Windham _. We will catch up with her. It has been a long, busy summer for Katie Windham, and she is ready to get back into action. So we'll catch up with her in just a little bit. We're also, of course, joined by our man, Mason Woods. You can follow Mason Woods at MAWoods _ on the Twitter machine. Leave us a comment, question, query, or complaint on all of our social media machines, or you can send us a voicemail at 205-462-7340, extension 800. If you want to jump in and join the show, let your thoughts be known. So big docket today, fun docket today. Mason Woods, how we doing?
Doing good today. Doing good. I'm, as I'm listening to you, I'm running through, looking at some numbers here that are a bit shocking that we'll have to get into it.
I like numbers. What sort of numbers are you?
We're looking at
downloads. We're looking at ratings.
That'd
we're
be
looking
great.
at.
I'm looking at some contract numbers with. I'm looking at contracts with uniform of suppliers, and that's been hot in the streets over the last 24 hours.
Adidas. I was asking a Tennessee fan friend yesterday about Tennessee switching to Adidas, and I don't want to misconstrue his comments. I asked him, "Do you feel good or bad or neutral about it?" He said neutral. I mean, I like Nike more, but whoever brings in the money, the equipment, and the championships. I said, huh, all righty.
Well, I may have some bad news for you.
Well, baseball.
But I mean, look, it's been a long time since I played baseball, but when I played baseball, Adidas was widely known as making the worst equipment. I can't imagine that's changed much in the last 10 years.
Tony Vitello, they turned Adidas into a champion.
Yeah, that's a terrible baseball. They make hockey stuff. That's what Adidas is good at making.
Okay.
And who cares down here?
Right.
They make okay basketball stuff, I guess, but it's Nike. It's Nike or nothing. I mean, we all know this. That's what all the recruits want. That's what everyone wants. I guess, it could have been worse. They could have gone Under Armour, Under Armour, I think, is firmly in third place of the three. But yeah, it's a significant downgrade.
Is Notre Dame Adidas?
They're Under Armour, I believe. They were Adidas, but they're Under Armour now. Well, it's not a good look on anybody. I mean, that's about the only good thing that you can say about Auburn maybe in the last decade is that they did make the switch this year from Under Armour to Nike. Now, I've seen photos from practice and fall camp that a lot of their players are still wearing like Under Armour accessories and things, cleats and gloves. So I don't really know how that transition goes, if it's just we're waiting to get the stuff in, or how it's going, but it'll be interesting to see.
March or May of 2023, Notre Dame did join Under Armour, so
I think they're probably, if I had to imagine, their flagship program, because I don't know of any other major ones that are associated with Under Armour. I think you got Maryland, you had Auburn,
Wasn't it an Auburn grad and a Maryland grad together? Isn't that the
I don't know. I know it's a
heads?
Maryland grad. I don't know if
I'm pretty
know if
sure
Auburn had the connect, but
Auburn's got a
surprise
board
me.
member on the Under Armour team, maybe. But yeah, you just got to go through the last of the stuff. You got to go through the equipment closet and.
Well, you saw they had the massive surplus sale. I mean, they had fans lining up for miles. It seemed like outside of that facility. I told Melissa, like, I would have put us into bankruptcy if Alabama did one of those.
Well, Alabama's not switching off Nike
No,
anytime
I don't think
soon.
they ever will. Which, I mean, if we want to just get right into it, Alabama needs to renegotiate this deal.
Yes,
because it's fine. It's still better than Tennessee's, mind you. Tennessee. You know, I've heard all of this over the last 24 hours from Vols fans on the internet.
Vols are back.
We're making all this money. That's why they switched. They're making so much more money. You're still making less than the flagship Nike schools. Alabama is getting over $5 million a year from Nike. Tennessee, this new deal roughly comes out to about $4.3 million a year. But the big kahuna here, Ohio State is making over $16 million a year from Nike.
Yikes!
What? Hey, Greg, how'd we miss the boat on this?
Can you find out when the Nike deal was signed for Alabama?
Because
there was I'm pretty sure in the back of my head it's a Bill Battle deal. It's a before.
Didn't they recently renew it though for and add like 10 years to it or something?
Perhaps, and then that'll be a little rabbit hole for you to find. But I'm pretty sure that Bill Battle negotiated the Nike deal off and so I think that's probably why some of these numbers are not so hot.
Okay, so 13 looks like.
Yeah, that's a Bill Battle deal.
And I think that they have not extended. No, okay. Yeah, that was the extension. So 2013, I guess, was an extension of trying to find exactly how long, I guess. Well, it says runs through 2025, so maybe technically Alabama's due for another extension.
We're up, baby. We are up. Yeah, he was the athletic director right here 2013 to 17. So yeah, Greg Burns probably furiously behind the scenes.
I would imagine
trying to get this $16 million.
Everything I'm seeing is that contract is up this year. So I guess that maybe makes sense why. I don't remember exactly how long it was ago now, but there were some rumblings in the Twitter sphere of, you saw the Alabama jerseys getting mocked up with the Jordan logo on them and things of that nature, which, look, the Jordan stuff is very cool. I think it doesn't really suit Alabama that well. I think it would look a little strange seeing the Alabama jerseys with the Jordan logo. I just think, as the vibe, it doesn't really fit. It's a square peg into a round hole kind of deal, but it'd be cool.
Yeah, you looking at AL.com quietly extends a Nike deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Still doesn't make sense to me that Florida is rocking the Jordan stuff. Never really got that one. Never understood there to be any connection between Jordan and Florida. Don't understand why they got the nod in the SEC as the Jordan team. What is Oklahoma? Isn't Oklahoma Jordan also?
I think they are.
Interesting. Very strange.
They're all going to have to. Jordan's going to cancel those contracts when North Carolina comes to the SEC.
It's just Nike stuff with the Jordan logo on
exactly.
it. It's literally the same equipment.
Exactly.
So I don't really even understand how that gets split up because Nike is still making money off of those deals, and I'm sure paying out part of those deals as well. I don't know. It's very strange. But yeah, Tennessee back with Adidas. You make bad football uniforms for the most part.
Well, bad football uniforms in Tennessee go hand in hand.
That's fair.
So we are going to keep it rolling here on the show as Tennessee has officially reverted back to Adidas and wish them best of luck, I guess. Mason Woods, how often are you on your phone? You ever see that on Sunday, Monday, you get the screen time notification?
I do.
Oh, gosh.
It's not very kind to me.
No, it's in the 10, 11, 9. If it's at 8 or fewer, I'm feeling good about it.
Yeah.
But it's often not.
It's our job. We have to be on our phones. We got to be scrolling, seeing what's going on. That's the justification I give myself.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself.
Even though a lot of that time is spent aimlessly doom scrolling.
Playing Block Blast. We're big block blasters in this house. Just playing Block Blast, scrolling Twitter, falling for the rage bait.
You got to get on the Retro Bowl.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be a great one. Yeah,
you're gonna have to drop, I think, $4 or $5 on it.
Nope,
it's worth it.
Nope, won't do it.
Worth every penny. One of the best, probably the best phone game I've ever played in my life. It's better than Madden.
I cannot justify spending any money on a phone game.
I mean, that's fair.
Can.
Look, that's fully 100% fair. It's a phone game.
I like the little world building games where it's like you're building your own little village, but inevitably it's like you can buy $10 for more supplies, and I'm like, that's the last I played of you.
Yeah, that's how it always goes. I get you with microtransactions. Boy, we've had a fun first 10 minutes here. How do we get to mobile games?
Oh, my man, Derek Daniel, what is my high score on Block Blast? It is 22, 23, something like that. 22. My girlfriend's is at 37,000. Golly, just try.
I'm gonna have to get on this just so I can beat your high score.
Please do. Well, okay, so she pulls up my phone with the first couple days because I've been watching her play it, right? And I download it, then I get, and then she grabs it, and then immediately puts up 15,000, just sleeping. And I'm like, okay, I can pass this. It took me 3 or 4 weeks to get past it.
It's like a little Tetris type?
Yes, exactly. Okay. It's very much Tetris coded, essentially. Okay. Oh my gosh, Derek Daniels, 62,000, almost 63,000. Wow.
Okay.
Massive. That's it takes a lot of strategy. It takes a lot of money, but you also have to get the right blocks to throw into the grid.
See, I used to play a game very similar to this. It was probably the exact same game, just under another name, because that's how mobile games go. Once one gets really popular, everybody else makes their own clone of it.
Yep.
And I was very bad at it because I could not play it without just trying to make fun shapes work on the board. Right. I'd get in my head of ooh, this one fits so nicely, when in reality it was not the right place to place not the right spot to put the block to further my game, but it was more visually appealing if I put it in that spot. So yeah, I get stuck in a loop of just trying to make it look pretty, and I can't play that.
Basically, you just fill the blocks up. Each line, it clears them. So it's very Candy Crush coded kind of stuff.
Good time killer.
The reason I'm bringing this up is because I don't know if you watched the latest Josh Payton stuff, but Josh Payton is saying that phone addiction is plaguing a Power 5 level team's quarterback competition. And I want to ask you, was your man Austin Mack on the phone too much?
I was genuinely the slightest bit concerned that this was about the Alabama Crimson Tide.
I don't think it was about Alabama.
I don't think it was either, but the thought did cross into my head because, yes, I think Austin Mack, I don't know him, never even spoken to the guy, but just given the circumstances, given, he's sat around for a while. He sat around for a year at Washington. Now I could understand how you'd probably be sitting on your phone for a long time. And then Keelan Russell, I've met a handful of kids. Kids are just on their phones, even more than me and you are. So I'm sure that having to get that out of a kid that, I mean, realistically is barely out of high school, that was probably tough. But no, I don't actually believe it was Alabama. I don't really know who I think it was. I
know who I think it was. Who do you think Josh Payton can get information from?
That's a good way to go here.
My bet is the Colorado Buffalo is Caden Salter and Juju Lewis.
That's kind of what I thought as well. I did say the Vanderbilt popped into my head just for a second because I could see Diego Pavia just spinning.
But there's not really a battle.
But there's not a battle there. Yeah, exactly. So that's quickly why they worked their way out. But I could see Diego Pavia spending probably 14 hours a day searching his own name on Twitter and just seeing what people are saying.
The reason my reason that it may not be Colorado is because Caden Salter's a redshirt senior. He's been there, done that. And obviously Juju Lewis, a true freshman. What about the Ohio State Buckeyes? You got Julian Sayin, redshirt freshman. You got Lincoln Kineholz, redshirt sophomore, and Tavion St. Clair, true freshman. You're trying to find a quarterback, and you got basically young guys all throughout the room. Nobody with any experience. Now, my experience with Julian Sayin, we've had him on the show twice when he was an Alabama commit and going to early enroll, and he was great with us. He was, but my experience was with him that it was a little bit tough to get him scheduled on stuff because he was very focused is what I'm trying to say. Very focused on his goals.
Yeah.
So don't feel as good about putting that on Julian Sayin, but it's somebody.
Is it John Mateer?
gambling, sports
Yeah,
gambling.
He's scrolling through DraftKings all day long.
FanDuel. And he's like, oh, I can get John Mateer odds for future Heisman for plus 30,000. I'm taking myself.
Yeah, he's deep in the way. He's betting on cricket and stuff. He's betting on all kind of international sports. Oh man.
Can you imagine being a coach saying, if you would just get off your phone, Billy Sports Ball, you would be the starting quarterback?
No. Seems like a nightmare.
Is it Joey Aguilar? Because isn't Tennessee having Tennessee keeps parading like they are having a quarterback competition, but I don't know that they actually are. It's Joey Aguilar, and who's the other guy? Jake Metlinger.
It's you know who it is? It's Carson Beck at Miami. He can't stay off. He's scrolling through his ex-girlfriend's Instagram all day.
Aren't they back together?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe. Oh my God! Yeah, Tennessee. It could be a Tennessee. Joey Aguilar, Jake Merklinger, and George McIntyre. Do you remember meeting George McIntyre?
I don't think so.
True freshman. You met him with me out in front of Bryant Denny Stadium when he was still a recruit, and he was like 7'5". We were.
I do. Yes. Okay.
I mean, he was nice. That's all there is to the conversation. But it was like looking at a skyscraper.
Man, what are some? I'm trying to think of some other good battles.
Well, here's what I can say: Ty Simpson doesn't have phone addiction.
I don't think that it's Ty Simpson. But maybe this is maybe he's just painted this picture for us, and he is. What about? Who it is? It's Michigan. It's Bryce
Underwood.
It's Bryce Underwood.
Watching Barstool clips.
Yeah, it's Bryce Underwood.
Well, Coach, these are my bosses. They're paying me.
I have to do this, Coach. I feel like that's a good one there, maybe.
I think in Tuscaloosa County or in West Alabama, I'm not exactly sure how it all played out, but they banned phones from the kids this school year.
I did see, and again, I'm pretty far removed from school. I don't have a child in school or anything, so I don't have
your 8 kids aren't in school.
On this.
Your 8 children aren't in school yet?
No, they're not.
They're working the mines.
Yeah, that's where they should be.
That's right.
But I did see over the last week or so, probably 3 or 4 different videos come across my TikTok feed of various teachers talking about their school implementing a phone ban this semester and how they've noticed an immediate difference in the kids interacting with each other, having longer attention spans, being able to take notes and things, which I think that's pretty clear that probably is what happens when you take phones away. I do understand the argument of I want to be able to contact my child as a parent.
Sure.
I get that 100%. But I think there is also a lot to be said for the fact that if children, even if adults have access to their phones without any kind of guardrails, they'll just sit there on their phone and not communicate with each other or anything like that.
Of course, when all you got to do in the schools is have that little cubby wall where you just come in, put your phone in the cubby wall, and then you go sit down. For me,
don't let them have access to the internet.
Well, then
you can still get phone calls, you still get texts.
Sure, yeah,
you can get calls and texts. No Instagram, no Twitter, no whatever. I don't know what TikTok, I guess. I think that'd be fine. My school, when I was in high school, I don't know how they did it. I'm sure there's some, but you couldn't get service almost anywhere in there hardly. So there's probably ways to figure it out to where you can, not allow Wi-Fi access or something like that. I don't know.
Sounds like a Sipsy Valley football game.
I'm sure there's ways around. I don't know. Because that's really the issue. I don't think if a kid has his phone, I think without access to the wide internet in front of them, they're probably not going to do a whole lot with it, other than if they need it in an emergency, use it in the emergency.
Yikes! So
I don't know. Not an issue I want to have to deal with.
No, not an issue at all. Is this an issue though? We've been talking about interceptions at Alabama football camp. We're gonna have Katie,
not throwing enough.
Right. We're gonna talk to Katie Windham here in just a minute. And she's gonna join us for her first appearance post summer. We've been talking interceptions, and we hear 3-4 interceptions total in camp. And we actually talked to the defensive guys yesterday, and it was no interceptions in camp, or very few interceptions in camp. Are you guys good? Are you guys making it hard on the quarterbacks? Are y'all making plays? And Kane Womack basically is like, yeah, we're still making plays on the ball, challenging the ball, but compliments to Ty. Ty knows what we're doing. Ty, compliments to the quarterback. They said that in spring ball they were at 15 or so interceptions at this point in camp. And now this year you're at 4 interceptions. Is this Alabama defensive back room needing to be re-examined? Because we've been talking about them as like one of the two strengths one of the two biggest strengths on the team.
It still is. I think if anything,
you think Damani's just not playing with his hands right now? They're all just running around.
No,
running around with their hands behind their back.
That would be actually an incredible way to make them play.
Right.
Take your hands away, and then you're going to be amazing when you do have them. But no, I think you kind of heard it. Like Ty knows what they're doing. He knows that defense. That gives the offense a pretty big advantage in practice when they know what's going on the other side of the ball. That combined with just having the entire summer to get down on timing, get down on their connections and everything like that, and get comfortable with each other in the offense, like it makes perfect sense to me that they are going to see a dramatic decrease in interceptions because of probably just simply timing. Like I imagine that was a lot of the issues in the spring was I'm throwing it, but this guy's a step behind where I'm throwing it, or he's a step in front of where I'm throwing it. And it's just getting the repetitions just time and time and time and time again until you get that timing down. And now that they have it down, at least it sounds like they have it down, they're not throwing any interceptions.
Well, they didn't have Cole Adams to throw the 3 yards, the 3-yard whip route.
Yeah. It had no tight ends to dump it off to.
Yes.
Draylon Washington wasn't ready yet. He wasn't quite comfortable to catch that ball out of the
with
backfield.
Isaiah Horton.
Yeah.
Right.
Daniel Hill had not emerged as a receiving back, apparently.
Kane Womack yesterday saying that Ty does a good job keeping us in good plays and does a good job getting them out of bad plays. So does any of this, how can we give you more confidence with 15 more days for Ty Simpson?
Kane Womack, I liked what he said a lot. That was much better than I thought than what Grubb had to say. It did give me much more confidence because I thought he actually directly addressed this is what Ty has done well, and it's things that, in my opinion, you need to be able to do well if you're going to be that elite level quarterback. Like get your team out of bad situations because, look, you can play as perfect as on schedule as you want. Bad situations are going to happen. It's football. Like you have to be able to overcome that. I'm out of my rhythm. I got to figure it out on my own a little bit. And seemingly, at least according to Kane Womack. And that's an opinion I would probably trust. Ty's able to do that. So, I'm more optimistic after hearing what Kane Womack said. Absolutely.
You got compliments the other day, though, for your scrutiny of Ty Simpson.
I do have to say, I think that this commenter may have a little more disdain for Ty Simpson than I do.
He said, this was after the same commenter after I posted the Theo Fernandez hunting article. And I was like, check out this article. Like really, really, really good leadership. He goes, well, bleep, we might as well just cancel the season and raise the banners. Crimson Tide Media has told me explicitly the last few days that Ty Simpson's the best Bama quarterback ever, despite not beating out Jalen Milroe. The amount of propaganda coming out of T-Town would have made Joseph Goebbels blush. I'm like, oh, okay.
Whoa.
Yep. And then he comes to you yesterday. This is Lucky Bull at Lucky Bull 42. Thank you, Mason Woods, for being one of the few people out here not spewing coach propaganda about Ty Simpson. Could he have success? Sure. Would I bet the future of Keelan Russell on a guy that couldn't beat out Jalen Milroe? Bleep no. This is a major gamble for Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, I think, the back half of that, you lose me just a little bit. I'm with you. I'm with you for the first part there, but you lose me just a touch. I don't think we're gambling the future of Keelan Russell here. I think Keelan probably knew very well stepping into this situation. He had a pretty big hill to climb to earn the starting job, and that he came here anyway. And I don't really think it's a major gamble. I've said it for all three of these quarterbacks, you're probably getting to the playoff with. Yeah, that's pretty dang good. I just think the other two maybe have a better chance at actually winning the thing than Ty does. That's kind of all I say. I do think that our friend Lucky here maybe doesn't like Ty a little more than I do. I don't necessarily think it's that major of a gamble. I think you're still going to be fine throwing Ty out there for the most part. Maybe, you might have some issues come game 3 or 4 of those playoffs, but for the most part, 90% of this season, you're probably going to be A-okay. But no, I do think it's been a lot of propaganda about Ty, I will say, though.
Well, we'll find out about that here in the next couple of days. I think if Kane is correct, if Kane is talking about getting us into good plays and is correct, then you do have a little bit of Mac Jones-esque. Like somebody was talking to me yesterday. Oh, he's just like Mac. I said, I think he's better than Mac, talent-wise.
Yeah.
But what Mac did was, hey, you guys are loading the box against Najee Harris. We'll just check, and hit you one-on-one with Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
And I think in that Arkansas game that year, Arkansas played like drop 8 pretty much the entire game, and it was like, we'll take Najee Harris for 4 yards a pop the entire game, and we'll be patient. I think they won that Arkansas game like 17-3 or something like that, but it was like never in doubt. If Ty's just keeping you in good plays the whole time, using his his mind to lean on the skill position guys around him, I think that's a big plus.
I think that's great. I don't think that's not always going to work though. Like there is going to be that, oh, we're in 2nd and 17, we're in 3rd and 12. We got to figure something out. I got to pull something out of my rear end here and make
chicken salad out of chicken bleep.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Right. All right.
And to me, the he gets us out of bad plays comment kind of spoke to maybe that aspect a little bit, and that's what gave me a little confidence in Kane Womack's comments. Like, that's the way I took it. Is like, yeah, he's maybe they've ran some situational things at practice, where it's like, okay, hey, it's 3rd and long. What the hell are you going to do, Ty? And he's gotten them out of it. Those are kind of what I'm looking for. Those just kind of freak plays. Like, I don't know, the little weird plays where you just got to make it happen. It's not everything perfect around you.
Well, 16 days until Alabama kicks off. Let's take a pivot.
Will Riker days.
Okay, yeah.
That's the only one I can think of. I'm sure there's more.
Richard Mulaney, wasn't he 16?
Yeah, that's a good one.
There we go. We're going to turn our attention to Katie Sukalis. You can follow her on the Twitter machine at Katie Windham _. She's our lead writer at BamaCentral.com. But before we do, we want to invite you to the Northport Lions Club Health Fair on Saturday, August 23rd.
Northport Lions Club and St. Mark Church present a free health fair in honor of Dr. Norman and Jean Carlson, Saturday, August 23rd, 8:30 till noon. That'll be in the St. Mark Family Life Center. Northport citizens can get free eye, hearing, and blood pressure screenings, diabetes testing, and more. Now, the first 100 people get a free biscuit, and free Domino's pizza slices will be served at 11, along with free snow cones and drinks from Buffalo Rock. Sponsors include Alabama Lions Site, Ascent Audiology, DCH Regional Medical Center, West Alabama Food Bank, Special Olympics, Northport Police Department, U of A Institute for Rural Health, the Alabama Department of Public Health, and others. A Northport Fire Department truck will be on site, and there will be lots of fun kids' activities. The Northport Lions St. Mark Health Fair. See you Saturday, August 23rd.
And we will see you Saturday, August 23rd, just across the street, St. Mark Church, for your free health clinic. And we want to remind you that we are live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. Call Derek today at 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs, home, life, auto insurance needs. You can get your free quote right now by calling 205-758-3391. He saved my man Theo Fernandez a lot of money on his auto insurance just this week alone. When he comes back on Monday, we'll make Theo give us all the details about that. So give Derek a call today at 205-758-3391. And we're joined now by our friend Katie Windham, Katie Sukalis, lead writer for BamaCentral.com. Yeah, Katie, why don't we iron this out right now? You've got your nameplate as Katie Windham right here, and it's still Katie Windham on the Twitter machine. But I did have the pleasure and privilege of being at your recent wedding. Are we keeping Windham as the media name and then Sukalis as the married name, or is there going to be some sort of distinction or merger? We'll open the floor saying, welcome, congratulations, and how the heck do you want me to deal with that?
Yeah, thank you. You kind of hit what I'm going to do. I think work-wise, I'm just going to keep it the same. Not that I'm some big, personality that people really know me as a certain thing, but just for ease, I guess, and the fact that Tony's kind of in the business too. So just to, I don't know, maybe make things not as confusing within socially and legally, which I haven't done yet, but will eventually change my last name. So really whatever you refer to me as on things like this, it's fine.
Well, sounds perfect. We are very, very grateful for your time this morning. I know you've had a very, very busy summer. I've got a lot of people who have, when's Katie coming back? When's Katie coming back? I'm like, well, she's taking care of some things. She's taking care. So what's the bigger highlight? The wedding, the time in Barbados, or your European trip with your family? Like three major highlights this summer. Just take us through with a broad brushstroke and give us a small picture of your summer.
Yeah, so the first 2 weeks of July, I was in Europe with my family. It was the first time any of us had been outside of my dad living in Germany as like a very young child. None of the rest of us had ever been to Europe. So we went for about a week and started out in London and then a week in Paris. So it was fun. Got to do a lot of cool things I've been wanting to do for a long time. And then was home for about 2 weeks and then got married. And so there was a lot of last minute wedding cramming that went into those 2 weeks because I did not have like a wedding planner. So I was kind of the point person for everyone, but it all got done. Everything worked out, wedding. And then we had a flight at 5:15 a.m. the morning after our wedding out of Birmingham to Atlanta and then to Barbados, which thankfully that all went fine too, because about halfway through our trip, there had been a day in Atlanta where there had been bad storms and like basically every Delta flight got messed up. And so I was like, hopefully this doesn't happen on the way back. And it didn't. So thankfully all those trips this summer, no flight issues. And also on top of that, Tony's sister got married in Texas in June. So we had that this summer as well. And then, one of my sisters is getting married in November. So all her wedding stuff's about to ramp up, party next weekend. And then her bachelorette will be the first by weekend. So it's a lot of busy stuff going on. We also bought a house this summer. So there's a better than not chance, I'd say, that the Wi-Fi cuts out during this, because we just, when it's working, it's good, but it's like, it's his old Wi-Fi, but we're using the lady that left her AT&T box here. And so that's something that needs to be on the top of our checklist, is getting the Wi-Fi worked out, obviously, with a job like we have where we have to work and write from home and stream from home so much. So hopefully it does not while we're on here. But there's lots of unpacking and unboxing that still needs to be done around here. It's good that this is about all y'all can see of my office right now.
Well, Katie, we really appreciate you jumping on and joining us while you're working through Wi-Fi issues. So far, none on my end. So you look clear and you sound clear for us right here in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. We cannot say congratulations enough for all your all these milestones that you're hitting. But new milestone, Kalen DeBoer's second year, midway through fall camp. You got back right in time for Alabama's Media Day. So you've been really leading our coverage at BamaCentral.com. We encourage you guys to read her at Alabama Crimson Tide on SI. We're 10, 15 days into camp roughly, and you got about another 9 or so left in fall camp. The second scrimmage is on the horizon, and that's really the last live actions per se for the team until they go down to Tallahassee. What are your thoughts so far? We've now seen Kalen DeBoer name a starting quarterback, which is very un-Saban-like. It's the earliest that Kalen DeBoer in his tenure has named a starting quarterback, earlier than the time with Michael Penix and what was the guy at Fresno State that they named? It was earlier than that announcement. So they seem to be feeling pretty good about Ty Simpson. How are you feeling about Ty Simpson and the team in general?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I get that it was earlier than he's normally done, but then also like the whole thing was just kind of silly because they basically said at the end of spring it was him. So it was just like every day that we're talking about this with the coaches or the players or whoever we're talking to, it's just kind of silly because we all know it's going to be Ty. Now you can debate obviously whether or not like you think it should be, but like they've made it pretty clear that that's, who it's going to be. So I think, from what I've heard, I think a lot of people thought it was between Ty and Keelan, but from a lot of what I heard, and then from what Caitlin said after the scrimmage on Saturday, and then from what Grubb said on Tuesday or whatever day we talked to him, it sounds like it was mainly between Ty and Austin Mack. And I think it may kind of go into kind of your question with Kane yesterday about the freshman linebackers swimming and having a lot. Just when a guy comes in, there's a lot to learn. And, I don't know a ton of the X's and O's of football, but I would assume that there's some complexity to Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer's offense. It's going to be hard for a freshman quarterback to learn. And so, and then I think also, you're trying to keep Austin Mack on the roster because you're in deep trouble if you only have 2 scholarship quarterbacks on a roster going into a season because, injuries happen. You don't want them to. But if a injury happens to your starting quarterback and you have one other quarterback, you're in trouble. So I think it was essential to keep Austin Mack. But from what I heard, he really was kind of the number 2 guy, and they haven't announced that yet. And who knows if they will? Who knows if we'll get a depth chart? We did not last year. I think weren't we told we were, and then we didn't.
Yeah, not until the first Saturday of the season.
Yeah, we got one in the press box, when everyone gets one because they give and they're in the programs and stuff like that, and they announce the starters in the stadium. So we did not get any sort of early. So I doubt we will this year too. As little as they can give us, they try to. So, yeah, I think Ty, he must have proven, and it sounds like the thing that they've kind of harped on the most is that he took care of the ball. And really, yesterday I was looking at when Kane talked about, last year, which Alabama was one of the best teams in the country at forcing turnovers. But I went back and looked at Jalen's stats, and it was 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Yuck. And a lot of those interceptions were very costly in games that they lost, or turnovers of fumbles. We watched the Netflix Any Given Saturday, or whatever it was called, SEC series, and just kind of reliving some of those games from this past season, which Alabama was not one of the featured teams, but some of the teams they played were the featured teams. So some of those games were kind of gone through a little bit. And I'd completely forgotten that South Carolina game, the end of the first half, when they gave up 11 points or whatever it was in 2 minutes because of 2 turnovers by Jalen. So he did not do a good job last year of holding on to the ball. That was not enough, apparently, at any point to remove him from the starting job, but I think it got close, and it was extremely frustrating for the fans. Obviously, I'm sure it's extremely frustrating for the team. You're taking away possession from the offense. So they've highlighted that that's something that Ty's done well. I think it's kind of silly that they keep talking about the low interceptions because it's I don't know. It was funny. I wasn't over there, but watching the Xavier video, and Kirk asked him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I had one today." And Kirk's like, "The number's 5," and it's none of us really know exactly what the number is. And they're not doing, it's not fully live because they can't fully affect the quarterback. So. But it is a good sign for the offense, and I think kind of what I wrote about yesterday, it's not a bad thing for the defense because it'll kind of take care of itself once they can, go full go, or you would hope so. Even though a big emphasis for them has been getting sacks. So I'm kind of just rambling at this point, but I think Ty, I think we've kind of known since spring he's going to be the guy. And then, it sounds like they're all fully behind him. I don't think it's as much of a 2 years ago where Saban was like, Jalen's going to start the season, but the competition continues. I don't think it's that, but I do think if there are issues, I don't think they're going to be as hesitant this season to pull the trigger on making a change as they were last year. So we'll see what happens in 2 weeks in Tallahassee. Should be fun. It should be interesting. Very excited to watch real football and it not be talking season anymore, for it to be actual football season.
You mentioned, obviously, ball security being an issue last year with Jalen Milroe, and I'm sure that was a big point of emphasis throughout this quarterback battle for each of the 3, options there available. And, we heard Ryan Grubb say that seemingly, at least throughout fall camp, interceptions have not really been an issue. I think he told us they've thrown 3 throughout fall camp. So, however you want to split those up, what do you think outside of ball security? Because if, evidently all 3 have done a pretty good job, what were the traits or the characteristics that separated Ty Simpson from the pack?
I think his leadership, you talk about a quarterback is obviously the leader of the team. They have to win over the locker room. I think he's done that. His consistency, that was another thing Ryan Grubb said at the beginning of camp is, whoever wins the job, or in order for Ty to win it, he has to be consistent. So he must have shown that. They've talked about he's smart. He makes good decisions on the field. That ties into turnovers is you have to make the right reads. You have to make the right decisions. You have to be smart with the ball. And so, I think it's kind of a combination of all those things. And he's the guy that they trust the most, which makes the most sense. He's the oldest guy. He's been at the school the longest. He's been a quarterback the longest. He's a former 5-star. His dad's coach. He's been around the game a long time, as we kind of had with the funny anecdote with Kane Womack yesterday that he knew of Ty when he was a 5-year-old or whatever it was. So Yeah, I think it's kind of all those things. And it's just such an interesting position for an Alabama quarterback to be in, because I think it was John Talty or some national 24/7 person, some national writer talking about how, like, we've all talked about how Ty's an anomaly waiting, but like truly in the era of the 5-star, like he's the only one that's waited 3 years at a school without starting. And so, but then it's like he was a 5-star. So I think because he hasn't played for 3 years, people are like, why not? But then it's like he does, supposedly have all this talent, and then it's developed and he's gotten better and become a better decision maker. So none of us know for sure because we can't watch these scrimmages and stuff. And then also, like, a scrimmage is not a game. It's not being in an away environment on August 28th or August 30th, whatever the day is. So I think it's going to be something he has to prove on the field, and not just in 1 week and multiple weeks. Just like last year, it's not like Alabama really gets to super ease into the season. Second year in a row that the first SEC game is Georgia, and this year it's at Georgia. So I think it'll help him maybe getting a start on the road at Florida State against a team that's maybe not as talented, and kind of work things out there, and have Wisconsin at home and ULM before going to Georgia. But yeah, he's going to have to figure things out quickly, or it's not going to be great for the Crimson Tide. But then also with the 12-team playoff, you can lose twice. So it's a lot of interesting things, and I'm ready to actually watch him play, because for everyone, the sample size of Ty Simpson is so small. None of us have ever seen a touchdown pass from Ty Simpson. So, it's going to be a lot for him to prove to the fans. Maybe he's obviously proven enough to the team and the coaches to win the starting job, but it'll be a lot for the media and fans to take in week 1.
Katie, you mentioned needing real football. I felt like yesterday was almost the peak of that with the Jam Miller. Jam Miller's so much bigger. Jam Miller's arms are so much larger. And I thought, oh my gosh, we've never needed a real game as much as we do now. The talking season has reached such a point of we're just looking at photos and stretching photos and, zooming in. And I don't think any of the Jam Miller photos were Photoshopped, but I do think it was a very favorable angle. Not that he has small arms. I think his arms are massive. But I was just like, oh, he's so much bigger than last year. I'm like, I don't know about that, guys. You mentioned it with your answer with Ty Simpson, really, that this conversation has kind of been construed even with the comments of Ryan Grubb. If we play a game tomorrow, Ty Simpson's our starter. So we've kind of known that Ty's the guy, at least the leader, all through summer and going into fall camp. It was just kind of a formality of actually naming him the starting quarterback. I want to move us to really my biggest area of concern or question mark on the Alabama offense, and it's the Alabama offensive line. You look at Caden Proctor, okay, that's a top 10 pick if he plays the way that we've seen, if he continues his career trajectory. If you look at Parker Brailsford, okay, that's a top 35-ish pick. That's a 3 or 4th best center in the country, 2, 3, 4 best center in the country, hanging out with Jake Slaughter from Florida. The rest of the offensive line looks like a huge question. And we went into fall camp, Katie, thinking, okay, Jaden Robertson playing right guard. But through these 15 days or so, it seemed like Jaden Roberts is either losing his spot due to play or due to an injury. It looks like Jaden Roberts has gone from a solidified starter into more of a question mark. And we all see Wilkenform be playing right tackle and know what happened with him last season, but maybe hope or expect, and you've heard, okay, that he has taken a step forward. Where do you stand with this offensive line? You're looking at Cam Dewberry transferring in with Texas A&M. Gino Vandermark, whether he's playing left guard, backup center, or right guard, or backup all 3 guards. You just got some question marks on this offensive line. And while I think Ty leads all the storylines because quarterback, it all starts with the offensive line. So how are you feeling about the big boys up front?
Yeah, it's for sure, I think, an area that's like it's kind of being talked about, but maybe not enough, because Alabama's skill guys, obviously lots been made of that, but like those guys won't be able to catch the ball if Ty doesn't have time to throw the ball. And so, it's kind of an interesting dynamic too, because you have those 2 guys in Parker Brailsford and Caden Proctor that, like, these are really high level offensive line talent. And then, like, Wilkins, the guy at right tackle, but he's kind of like the opposite of Ty. And like, we have seen him and like, it wasn't good. Like, and he's supposedly made a lot of improvement, and they wouldn't have him there necessarily if like they didn't trust him. But then also right tackles don't just grow on trees, and that's kind of a hot commodity to get in the portal. So, you know, so like, yeah, he's there. He's won the job apparently, but it's like he's going to have to prove stuff this year. And obviously any tackle position on the offensive line is super important. And then the guards, yeah, I think it's a concern that you don't know for sure who your guards are going to be at this point, 2 weeks before the season, 2.5 weeks, whatever it is. Because I think Jaden Roberts, a lot has been made about his strength, his athleticism. Like he's obviously in that area is on a whole different level than almost anyone else on the team. But it's like, if you can't stay healthy, or if you can't, you know, really figure out the schemes or what you're supposed to be doing, then like it's going to be hard for the coaches to trust you. So, and you know, none of us really know. Like Kalen said after the scrimmage, he didn't play. His mom tweeted something last week about, yeah, he's been playing second string sung, but they're just rotating. So, you know, we don't know for sure except for the coaching staff. And then I think at left guard, Cam Dewberry is like more your prototypical SEC guard. I mean, he's literally played in the SEC before at A&M, you know, just size and athleticism wise. And then Gino is, but then Gino was with Chris Kapilovich at Michigan State. He's followed him here. He stayed another year. I think he appreciates his loyalty. I think he obviously understands his scheme a little more, how Kapilovich wants him to play because he's known him for so long. And so I think they really trust him. He's obviously a smart guy if he can play, well, if he can switch to the different positions so easily. So yeah, like this offense has a potential to be have a really high ceiling, but like it won't get there if the offensive line isn't there. And we've seen some really, you know, going back to when Bryce Young was the quarterback, he was a wizard and he would get out of stuff, but he didn't always have the best offensive line blocking for him. And so I feel like it's been, or wait, did Alabama win? Did they win the Joe Moore in 20?
I think the last time they won the Joe Moore was 2020 is what I remember reading.
Okay.
I'll find out. Here we go. Award winners by year.
But I feel like since then they haven't had necessarily the elite offensive line that we kind of got used to in the Saban era. I think there have been some elite, highly drafted pieces like a guy like Tyler Booker, but not the cohesive left side to right side. This isn't a great offensive line. And so, I think it is a little bit concerning because you do have good skill guys. Ty is like the guy now, still a little bit of question mark just because we don't know, but it's like none of that's going to matter if the guys up front aren't blocking the way they're supposed to. So
Alabama winning in 2015 and 2020. You have Michigan, Washington, and Army as your last 4 Joe Moore Award winners. So Parker Brailsford.
Yeah, Parker won. Yeah.
Parker Brailsford 1/5 of a Joe Moore Award winner.
I know Army was a fun story last year, but that's like that meme of all the soldiers standing there and then one of them is dressed like a clown. It's just, one of these is not like the others. I want to ask you about the running backs. It seems like we are obviously not there at practice. We're not there seeing every single minute of practice. We get our very limited amount of availability or viewing period. So we don't get to see everything that happens, but it seems like over the last week and change or so, one of these running backs has almost been forgotten about a little bit. We've heard a lot about, Jam Miller. Obviously, we just got done talking about how, everyone and their mama was talking about how big he is yesterday. We've heard about Draylon Washington, and we've heard about Daniel Hill apparently now being a receiving back.
Daniel Mountain.
But we haven't heard about Richard Young, really. Where is Richard Young, at least from what you've heard, what you've seen maybe, kind of falling into this running back rotation? Is he kind of being the odd man out here this year, or is he still, do you think, going to be a decent part of the fold?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. When I think we have one more practice viewing at some point next week. I'll be interested to watch the running backs to kind of see, which that doesn't always tell us. It's not always accurate exactly where kind of they are in the pecking order, but sometimes it is, to see kind of where he is running in the drills, because you would think he's a guy that, like, if he knew he was the number 4 running back, like, he would have transferred, or even if he thought he was going to be the number 3 before they brought in Dre Washington, like, he would have left. So I don't know. Yeah, he's not being talked about a lot. Like, he's not a name that comes up with the staff. And like I've said before, Kalen DeBoer doesn't necessarily like single people out as much. you kind of have to ask him directly about somebody. So, maybe we should ask directly about Richard Young, kind of where he fits in it. Joe, didn't you tried to ask Grove about kind of how they were going to handle the 6 running backs? He just said, we got to have everyone ready. But it's like, you're never going to play 6 running backs. Like,
no.
Even though, there was it 2022 when like Roydell and Jace got hurt and whoever was above them got hurt too. So like you were kind of scraping the barrel, like when Trey Sanders was playing running back in the
yes.
Or was that 2021? I guess I don't know.
That was 23. That was 22. That was 22.
I'm pulling up the stats now
because in 21 it was Brian Robinson. 21 Brian Robinson went over 1,000 yards, but 22 that was Jace, Roydell, Trey Sanders. Oh gosh, there was somebody else.
Of course,
but yes, you're right on it. In 22, you had a bunch of injuries.
Yeah. You can't have worst case scenario, but obviously and ideally that does not happen often. But you're not going to play 6 running backs, and so, or at least one of these guys going to be in the portal at the end of the fall, probably. But going back to the Richard Young question, I don't know, because he's not being brought up. Then he does have some playing experience, so. I don't know. Like I'm kind of came into this in the mind that like he would play more over Dre Washington, but then because I don't know, sometimes it's hard with these transfers from lower level schools. It's like sometimes you bring them in just to fill that kind of roster spot to build more depth, and then sometimes it's like, well, they wouldn't come unless they were kind of thought they were going to have some sort of playing time. But then sometimes guys are just happy to be on a bigger roster. So I don't know exactly like what his deal is. So that's also going to be something for sure to watch week 1 is kind of Alabama's running back rotation and how many carries like each guy get, or who is Daniel Hill definitely the number 2 guy behind Jay Miller? Is it going to be kind of a rotation between 3 guys or 2 guys, or what the deal is there? How much will Alabama run the ball now with a more pro style quarterback? But then also there's been stuff made about like Ty liking to run a little bit too. So yeah, that's something that's going to be a storyline week 1 to keep an eye on as well.
4 verts every play.
Mason just wants to get down the field as fast as possible.
I want 4 play drives. Defense is going to be gassed by the second quarter.
Golly, that was the problem in the Tua years. Is one play, 67-yard touchdown. Defense, you're back on the field. We're hanging out with Katie Windham. Go ahead, please.
I think it was at Arkansas in 2018, whatever year it was. Yeah, because she played Arkansas in the even years. Anyway, sitting next to this Arkansas fan, and he just goes, I just hope they don't score on the first play. What does Alabama do? They score on the first play. So, it was just insane that to a year how often 1-2 play drives happened, and the score would be 42-7 before you knew it.
Jerry, Judy. Oh, I love them. We're hanging out with Katie Windham. She's the lead writer for BamaCentral.com. You can read her Alabama Crimson Tide on SI. We're about 2/3 of the way through camp at this point. And so I want to get us closer to the end of this conversation by spinning us towards Saturday's scrimmage. This past Saturday, we heard about the quarterback command, getting in and out of the huddle, and obviously we were given the swerve. We're going to name a quarterback next Saturday, and that became a curveball. They named him on Monday. You also heard a lot about Cole Adams getting involved in the offense. I heard just a little, about Bray Hubbard playing pretty well, and the defense playing hard, being physical, but nobody really getting that. Nobody really walking away that with any sort of lingering issues. Mm-hmm. Katie, what are you expecting to hear this Saturday? Now that Ty is the starting quarterback, he's obviously going to get all the reps with the ones to try to get that cohesion nice and tight before they go down to Tallahassee. What are you expecting to hear either offensively? We haven't talked any defense at all. Just like, what are you thinking about this coming Saturday scrimmage in Bryant-Denny Stadium?
I'm honestly not expecting to hear much out of Kalen post-scrimmage. I don't think he's going to reveal much. But I did think I asked Tim Keenan yesterday, and I tweeted out the clip about how big is the second scrimmage and kind of guys figuring out where they are in the defense and solidifying things. And he had a good quote about, if you don't know the playbook, you're not doing the things you're supposed to do by the second scrimmage, you can come join us on the scout fields for the rest of this, not for the rest of the season, but probably. So I think it's big in kind of solidifying those roles and where people are. Who is going to be the 5 on the offensive line? Who are going to be the starters along the defensive line, the inside linebackers was set. But just all the positions, kind of figuring out, okay, where guys are, who the rotation is, because this is their last scrimmage before the season. And so it's not the last chance to figure those things out because they still have, practice and we'll have game week practice. But I think it's going to be more soon turning towards Florida State and opponent prep and less of like, okay, who are we, So I think the Saturday is going to be big for that and figuring out where guys are. Do I think they're going to tell us where guys are and who's starting where? No. But, maybe we'll see what we can get out of Kalen on Saturday.
Mason, got anything else for you? You want to throw a defensive question before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I do. Obviously, I think you share the same opinion as Joe and I in that the lack of interceptions is not any sort of comment on the defense per se. It's not due to them being, bad at covering or anything like that. I think
all the DBs got their hands cut off.
I think it's more about, Ty Simpson and these receivers and the offense just getting in a better rhythm with each other, getting that timing down as they've had more and more reps. But what do as far as the defensive backs go, is there, you mentioned sacks being kind of the point of emphasis this season with the defense. What do we expect from a turnover production standpoint, though? I mean, is it going to be kind of in line with last year, where it's you're pretty dang good at forcing turnovers, or are we going to, what do we expect from this year's group?
To me, the biggest thing last year was they were great at getting the turnovers, but they never had defensive touchdowns. I think, wasn't it until game 11 that they finally had one against the FCS punter, who I don't even remember who they played now off the top of my head, but like they were great at getting turnovers, but they so often were not converted to points because they weren't getting pick sixes or scooping scores, and then the offense would stall out or would go backwards. And so to me, I think, you have almost all of those DBs back. And Kane talked last week about how much deeper the DB room is than it was last year and how many more guys they trust. And so I think if it's true, if they've really worked so much on getting more pressure on the quarterback, that should lead to more turnovers, because if the D-line's creating pressure, it should help on the back end. And then also, maybe you're getting some strip sacks, things like that, forced fumbles. So I think it should be around where it was last year, if not a little better. And I would want to see, can guys convert that into points on defense, because that was something that they were not able to do last year. And I think we by halfway through the season, we were kind of joking about it in the press box. Like, is this the game that they're finally going to get it? Not, because going back to the 2018 Saban team that, they would score so fast. It was the 2016 team, I think my freshman year, when 2015 and 2016, the Minka Fitzpatrick era, seemed like he had a pick six every game, there would be 2016, the Jonathan Allen at Ole Miss, 70-yard pick six or whatever, when they almost tackled him from behind, or all that. The defense used to be so good at scoring, and it just did not happen last year. And that's something that can majorly change a game. Or when the Alabama offense was struggling so much at times last year, it's if you could get some points on defense, that would rally, that would provide a spark and also literally provide points on the board. So that's kind of going to be what I'm watching this year, is can they not just keep up the turnovers, but maybe get a few, scores as well directly off those turnovers.
She's Katie Windham. She's the lead writer for BamaCentral.com. Read her at Alabama Crimson Tide on SI, and follow her at Katie Windham _. She had a crazy summer, but she's back locked in for the football season. Katie, thank you so much for your time this morning. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Absolutely. That's Katie Windham joining us. And Mason, that's going to basically wrap up our program today. We talked about phone addiction, block blast, and got really involved in football with Katie Windham. Tomorrow, I want to talk about Florida State. I want to start talking about
little Thomas Castellanos.
Oh my gosh. Did you see that yesterday?
Yes. Now, I saw someone just spreading, and sometimes it's funny. I'll give it to you. But I mean, this is just blatant miss or disinformation, however you want to label it. EJ Manuel is 6'5". He is not 6 feet, as someone on the Twitter machine put out into the world yesterday.
That's why I quote tweeted. Did you say? I said EJ is listed at 6'4" on Wikipedia.
So it stands to reason that he might tower over a probably 5'11", 6 foot Thomas Castellanos. Now, I did see a video of him kind of just in a little scramble drill kind of thing at Florida State practice, wearing that turquoise jersey, which is neat that they do it, but it just still is an eyesore when I look at it. He looked like Kyler Murray, just little bitty fella out there, big old head,
little fried calamari.
I don't think he's going to play like Kyler Murray, but he did kind of look like him. It was funny.
I mean, the camera angle didn't do him any favors because EJ was in the foreground.
No, it was the Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry meme.
Right.
It was
EJ was in the foreground, but yeah, I quote tweeted, I said EJ Manuel is listed at 6'4" on Wikipedia, and then Castellanos is listed at 5'11".
Yeah, that checks out.
Maybe 5'9".
Yeah, maybe
5'10".
I mean, what was Bryce Young listed at?
Yeah, exactly. Now, is Thomas Castellanos Bryce Young? No. Yeah, we'll find out. So let's talk about Florida State tomorrow. We'll spend most of our time right there, and then we'll preview and talk about the Saturday scrimmage in Bryant-Denny State. We tried to get the drones in there last Saturday. We tried to do the mole, to dig under the stadium to get in there. All those attempts were unsuccessful, so we were just left with what birdies would whisper and what Kalen DeBoer would say. So we'll try to figure out if we can't find a way into Bryant-Denny Stadium on Saturday and have some more information for you on Monday. Really Monday, Tuesday.
You know what I'm doing if I'm Kalen DeBoer?
What you doing?
I'm putting Austin Mack out there with the ones the whole scrimmage.
What?
I'm making Ty sweat. I'm activating some hunger. If it's there, I'm activating it.
You just gave me the job, Coach.
Exactly.
Coach,
you better play good against Florida State, son. Last week was the last chance you had.
Why would you do that?
Make him sweat. I want to awaken something in him that I don't think has been awakened yet.
Let them know that, hey, that first drive, if we don't score, you're coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I want him to know, like, I'm holding him by the collar. Like, he doesn't even have a leash. Just,
I sure hope, just from a fan standpoint and from somebody watching this team, that all the leashes. You know, when I walk Abby, I've got a 7-8 foot leash that I walk Abby, and when there's no cars, I let the whole thing out, and she can go sniff off to the side and pull me this way, that way. But when there's a car coming, I start wrapping it around my wrist, so that she's right next to me. Coach DeBoer, start wrapping these leashes around the wrist to keep all the play right in line.
Just before we get out, who's the one player we're going to hear raving reports about from this weekend scrimmage?
I think we're going to go. I think we're doubling down on Cole Adams.
I like that. I think we're going to get a Jalen Hale appearance.
Ooh. I sure hope so. What a feel-good story that would be.
To see that.
That would be a massive feel-good story. Yeah, that would be a massive feel-good story. You can leave me your voicemails. Make your predictions for this Saturday scrimmage at 205-462-7340, extension 800. What do you want to hear about on Saturday? What are you hoping to hear about? What are you predicting for the Crimson Tide on Saturday? We'll play your voicemail tomorrow on the Joe Gaither Show right here on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.